of the show. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to bring up Derek from the Midwest. He's been calling into the show quite a bit and has really exposed a lot of very interesting information about some of the phony patriots and the various phony controlled opposition groups that we have out there. And Derek, you basically sent me some very interesting information on We Are Change. I had the chance to look at it before I came on air. Can you explain to the listening audience what you sent me and kind of give a primer as to what you're going to be talking about on the show today?
Sure, absolutely. Basically, what I sent Lee was a lot of really interesting information regarding a certain group, massive group, by the way, within the so-called Patriot movement, and a person who, it's come to light now at least, photographic verification, if nothing else, who seems to be leading the group, who seems to be running the group, all that kind of stuff, and this is a lot of information regarding We Are Change, supposedly, biggest group, under the InfoWars people in the movement, the biggest citizens-based grassroots, yada, 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 that whole thing. And what I found is that there are a lot of pieces of very damning information about at least the leaders of the group, and, either it's become co-opted or was from the beginning, and given its connections from, them dropping out the scene and only having that film deal with Jones for 9/11 Chronicles, which Alex produced or whatever. It's real suspicious, all the stuff surrounding this group, but we're going to be discussing a lot of real interesting information regarding that, and for some of the people in the chat room, if you want to hit up the chat room, I will even be posting some links, and I'm not going to post all of them. You can go look for them yourself if you want, but some of this stuff I know is, possibly going to be going into Lee's new film, since, it's going to be dealing largely with the Patriot paradigm and things like that. So I'll purposely leave some of it for that. If you guys want to go digging, go ahead and go dig. But I'll post a couple links of some of the things we're talking about. And I don't know, that's basically the extent of it.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is a short segment. What we're going to do is we're going to dive into this. But basically, the whole deal is that there's an individual who, I guess he's a pretty high-level member of We Are Change. I'm not exactly sure how high-level. I'm still researching that. I still have to look into that a little bit further. But undoubtedly, he's a pretty prominent member. And this guy is an admitted Freemason. He is in a bunch of photos making all sorts of Masonic hand gestures. And he admits openly in this documentary film that, yeah, I'm a Freemason, and, hey, there's nothing wrong with this. And it's just great. For the Freemason group, it's just wonderful. I mean, it's insulting to one's intelligence when you look at the video. But we'll talk about more on the other side. Stay with us.
Rampant inflation.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the show. I have Derek from the Midwest on the air, and we are going to get into some information on We Are Change, particularly this one individual by the name of Craig Fitzgerald, who apparently appears to be a fairly high-level member of We Are Change. I can't confirm for myself how high-level this guy is. Maybe Derek can provide more insight as to how high-level this guy is. And, Derek, I'm going to steal your thunder here, but just to give a bit more of a primer to the audience, essentially, this guy is on this documentary film entitled, I believe, Truth to Power, admitting that he is, in fact, a member of the Freemasons. He talks about, on his Facebook page, the lodge that I guess is a member of. He talks about how the John Birch Society is wonderful. And, of course, we know how the JBS is a controlled opposition front. And we've covered that on numerous occasions on this show. And then, of course, as I mentioned in the previous segment, this guy is giving all sorts of Masonic hand gestures in a lot of his Facebook photos. So, Derek, is there anything else you'd like to add to this? Because I know it's a lot, but I find it, of course, very bizarre and strange and ridiculous that you have a so-called truth group that would have somebody who is a member of the Freemasons, a secret society that, of course, has all sorts of nefarious connections that we could spend hours talking about. I find it very strange that nobody has seemed to really question this. And this is the first I've heard of this. I didn't even know who this guy was until you brought this guy to my attention. But it's undoubtedly very, very strange.
Yeah, it definitely is very strange. I stumbled upon this on a website that had some information on, it was an article that I was reading about, like you said, the John Birch Society having basically created the Patriot movement, and I was reading an article about that, and I, then went down, and sometimes I read the comments, and sometimes I don't, and, it didn't look like it had tons of comments, so I was like, I'll just decide to read the comments here. And one of the comments had something extremely interesting, and the extremely interesting comment was something about funds being misappropriated by We Are Change, and we talked about that a while ago, and it mentioned something about this guy Craig Fitzgerald, who is supposedly a 32nd degree Knight Templar. Oh, instantly I was like, alright, well, I'm checking this out. Looked it up, and turns out, as far as I can tell, I don't think he's a Templar. I believe he's actually a 32nd degree Freemason, but, almost one and the same, in many ways, at least as far as the public is concerned. Right, and, on the Facebook page, I ended up, just checking out, Facebook for his name, and you just Google, Craig Fitzgerald, you can find a decent amount of stuff, but, yeah, I'll be putting the links in the chat room for you. You look at some of the pictures, and right on, well, here, let's start with the Facebook page. We'll just start from the beginning. At the front of the Facebook page, the very first thing that, not the wall, because it always takes you to the wall first, click on tab. And on the info, it goes as basic info, and then you scroll down and it says links, likes and interests, activities. First thing listed under activities, AASR. If you don't know what that means, that's Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, Freemasonry. Second thing listed, John Birch Society. So he's not hiding this. He's obviously putting this right out into the open. If you look at his activities, they give you, you can put a thumbnail link up. The thumbnail link straight to the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite Facebook page. So, it's nothing that he's, it's all hidden in plain view, and, most people think that Luke Rudowski founded We Are Change. Luke Rudowski did not found We Are Change. I forgot the person's name who actually ended up founding it, but it was not Luke Rudowski. It was directly tied. He was victim's family member, I believe, or a ground zero worker, something like that, and he ended up starting We Are Change. Luke Rudowski and Manny Badillo, I believe, ended up taking it over, and they were running it with somebody who, I don't know, his name's Dan, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but then all of a sudden, and that's as far as I knew. I figured, at first I thought Luke was running it. I did a little bit of research into it, found out that he wasn't the guy that started it, but it looked like he was definitely their, PR guy or whatever at that point and all that kind of stuff. He was definitely their front man who they're putting in the public eye. I assumed Luke was running We Are Change, and that's what I thought for the longest time. And then I ended up seeing this thing about this Craig Fitzgerald, and I was like, well, this almost falls into their, look at how Bilderberg was run. Look at how the Illuminati was founded. Adam Weishaupt, did he claim to be a Jesuit? No, sir. He denounced the Catholic Church and had the Illuminati infiltrate Freemasonry, and that's how that went down. And then on his deathbed, he confesses on his last day of breath or whatever that he indeed, was a Catholic, and he still was, and you got that whole story. And then you got how the Bilderberg group was done with Joseph Redinger, who you hear nothing about from almost anyone. And now Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands was one of the founders, but he was a poster boy. Well, I'm pretty pretty sure, given what we're seeing from these photographs, which, you know, you listeners, if you want to get into the chat room, the people that are already in there, you'll see I'll be posting some more. These photographs are what I consider to be visual proof of somebody else running the show, and Luke Radowski being the poster boy for what is We Are Change.
Well,